Overpass yet today, which is really fun. It's a map that's a really great custom. It's the newest of the custom maps, and actually, is it the newest of the custom maps? Did it come out after? Well, I guess no. It's technically the oldest. The remake of Train and the new came out afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's I guess technically the oldest of the custom maps. So the one map that's completely unique to CS:GO. So. And I think it's turned out pretty well. I mean, after a ton of updates, a lot of interesting stuff about this map. It's got the verticality of Nuke without overlapping. Here's a push and a B.
Of course, we've got this four-man's coming up short. So blind and also jumping, but it's Kusta to find the opening headshot. Immediately responded to by Fugly, and it's going to be Legia to find a frag of his own. Hayes responding back once more. Does put the advantage to the defense, but this is some wild pistol fighting. No frags being found. Hecticness on the B site will result in a victory for the defense to get this game started.
Fugly actually gets all 4 of those kills somehow. Being able to reload versus a man who has 20 bullets, a Glock, and is up close and personal. It was kind of ugly, can't lie, but he made it happen, and ultimately was a huge reason they were able to win. It was saving his teammates from being in a 1v2 situation, so Fugly putting in work, and is going to buy a M4 with his spoils. I don't know if how many SMGs we're going to see, but almost certainly CLG in the situation because they didn't get a plant will... Well, I mean, they have one option. That's to buy. That's to force up. And then the other is to try to get a plant this round and maybe not invest too much money into pistols. I think we have a...
Technical.
Yeah, just a tech. Just a tech. What's a CSGO match without a technical problem? Not sure exactly what's going to happen here. But after that, I think what was interesting that Garrett mentioned as former coach of CLG, he said that they were putting their young guns over at B.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of find that strange, just because like they're both incredibly gifted mechanically, and it's pretty much how they got their spot on the team. Like, you know, it's hard to teach someone how to run faster, right? I mean,
yeah.
You can really, positioning is something that you can easily learn from someone who's better than you, but teaching someone how to aim, you know, you could make a case for it, but it's not something that you're going to expect. Someone who's an awful aim right off the bat can't even teach themselves that. It's not like something you're going to be able to do much for in, you know, at the pro level. So I feel like putting these two guys together who lack experience but are very good mechanically won't really tether off each other that well, right?
Yeah, that team dynamic, the trade frag, the peek at the simultaneous times, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Now B is the more straightforward side, as you mentioned too. So there is maybe a case for that. The fact that they don't really have to move around too much. A is a lot harder. There's a lot of reasons to want to push up bathrooms, try to get that first kill, but then also have to fall back in a variety of different ways. And so it is much more difficult to play. And sometimes maybe you could have like a Heaven Rotator be a man to oversee the B side as well as help out at A and also just communicate with. Communicate their setups, and a lot of the stuff maybe gets handled in preparation, but a level of comfort potentially to make sure they feel good about where they're playing. Oh, 5 Deagles.
And we got the Deco.
It's high noon
on the board. Of course, that's the no armor. Going to be moving forward with some cash flow. NRG, in addition to that, M4 do pick up the FAMAS as well. So we've got 2 rifles plus the Scout. WMP as well for Legia and Gobby, looking to make some cash flow here in round number 2. But CLG, they're going to spread themselves all across the map, try to pry out some information from that defense before they get this ball rolling.
And moving up slowly, we saw them win a full eco on Nuke versus kind of a bit more of a difficult opponent, I'd say. But that was off of the back of some pushes, and it doesn't seem NRG are going to be looking for forward aggressive control. Which quite, yeah, playing sites. Actually, only 2 over at A, and I don't know if the Scout's actually here too. So, I mean, this is potentially a site that they could overrun, but at the same time, Deagles actually slow you down quite a bit. I mean, you're going to end up in your crouch. You're going to be taking not that many shots. A lot of reasons not to just run up into a site fast.
PD's going to start rattling off some shots, and he finds himself the headshot. Excellent little bit of marksmanship here through the edge of the wall. And Ethan responding back, but damage dealt. Peter doing a good job of at least pushing this back, not allowing for them to come up close. Not going to be getting into that personal space. Peter going to miss that one, though. Does take a bit of damage himself. And still the T side, they're just stagnant inside the bathrooms. This is allowed for the rotation up from the CTs as well. Legia going to be double guessing this decision as he goes back down towards Heaven. But once more, second guessing. So, I mean, there is some ambiguity here to the positioning until Tabson and Peter find 2. Kusta responding back by 1, but with 16 points of health and no teammates left. He's got a very slim chance of winning out this round, so he's just going to try to commit to the bomb plant. Goes for maybe the Peter frag because he was so close, but he is denied because of the cross, and that's the conversion.
Yeah, it is kind of an odd composition of weapons to have like five deagles. I mean, potentially, you know, that could win you a round. You've got 5 players who can all get headshots, and so, you know, deagles are very good for that at long distances, especially. Like, you catch them when jump spotting over the middle of the site. But once you do get a kill, it's really hard to gain better positioning, and so like get yourself a plant. And so you wonder how much of that round was geared towards just trying to get a kill, and if that's the case, well, is it worth spending $700 on a pistol for?
Yeah. This round, though, Peter going to get the ball rolling, finds himself an MP9 headshot. 1, 2, 3. Lines him up, knocks him down, makes it look easy in the process. Now, Cutler to try and bring it back from Party, rattles off some rounds and does hit Fugly twice now. Hayes as well nearby. 2 support, looking to frag back onto Peter. Revenge needs to be found, but Peter's going to instead be able to survive a little bit longer. Of course, he's got the bomb in his possession, so right now, CLG, their hands are tied.
Obviously, forfeiting any type of like half armor or something like that, just for these. You know, Cutler spent $1,400 in these last 2 rounds, but and also not getting an opportunity there. Now we just have 1 man left. That's Hayes. He has spotted the long barrel of the M4A1 and gets a nice headshot on our man in the site. Hanging onto this gun might be difficult, and it actually depends what he wants to do here. Quite a bit of time remaining, so he realizes he'll probably have to take a fight. They're going to want to get this back.
Of course, Peter's one of the men closest nearby. Also remember tag, so if he's able to, I was going to say, find Gobby, then the potential to deal even additional damage, but instead it is denied, and then once again NRG going to find that. So the pistol, the 2 following conversions, they play that one superbly. No big upsets so far, but guns inbound.
Yeah, indeed, and we're going to have our full buyout of the map, and I'd say NRG did a stellar job of hanging on to weapons in the first 2 rounds, though. Yeah, overall, I mean, the money's not so bad. We have, in terms of equipment value, just the FAMAS is maybe a little bit worse than the guns that the terrorists have, and we've got 5 players over towards B. You can tell that they want to do something relatively quickly here because forfeiting map control like this means that they're risking getting pushed.
Some huge aggression coming in from NRG as well. They had those players closer to Party to secure the man inside a connector, and then that push up long. They've got map presence, so this allows them to rotate Gobby back, but instead it's going to be Ethan trying to open up shop here towards the B site. Legia going to be surviving inside of the water, drops him out. Man advantage immediately denied. That's going to be equilibrium found as Gobby takes 1 more. However, it's immediately shifted back. CLG find the bomb plant in the process, and now they're just going to hold on to this sweet, sweet after plant. With the smoke grenade and double flash, they do have less utility. There's still Molotovs to be played from the counter-terrorists as well. They're going to get themselves in a position from short, and Fugly will get this retake started. Kusa with the op, misses the shot towards Graffiti, so Gobby getting by with a stroke of luck as Tapson finds 1 more. Kusa responds, but it's a little too too late, and NRG eSports find the first rifle.
Yeah, and a very solid performance there. For every single trade it seemed went their way. Kusa missing a shot, a little bit of rifle whiffing from the site means that every trade going there, there was no opportunity for them to get back into that retake. You know, they're giving up control of each choke point, and then from that position, you're trying to stay safe, but you don't have a good fight. And we're going to have a buy to just follow up right after that because they got the plant and they've got a little bit of loss bonus. That means they're not going to have the resources, the ideal amount of resources, no Molotovs, only a couple of smokes, and this group towards B once again. So they might try to do something focused and quick.
This time, of course, notably Kusa, not on that AWP, so 5 AK-47s looking to play the rifles. No ability to pluck a player from the back lines. Instead, they're going to need frags like that. Sabrosa gets it started. That was a headshot on the jumping player. Kusta finding a headshot of as well. 5v3, make it 2. Sabrosa chimes in with another one. So they have just toppled over this B site defense, one after another. Those players from NRG do fumble. Now we've got Fugly sitting down in the bottom of the A site with Peter trying to save that op already. He's working himself to a long A. Just smart play, give it up.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. 2 of your teammates die back-to-back without a single trade, and you're on the other side of the map. Well, you're already like, okay, well, we're talking to your A player, we're saving. There's no point in trying to go for this risk. All of this money. I mean, they've already got a lead. They want to hang on to this op, even though they could afford to buy another one. Just doesn't make sense to chase. Even though I got to say, like, I mean, CLG getting into the site is critical for them, keeping 5 players alive, and an unlikely situation at that, considering how much money NRG had for counter nades, right? So the group explode makes sense in a situation where you don't have a lot of money because you can't really be tricky. You can't throw a fake. You can't throw a full execute. And it seems like they like this a little bit looser, scrimmier style, which is just group group up and explode, play contact, get a headshot, focus on your individual skill, which I much prefer the style in general. So it's cool to see them doing it and it actually working. My one gripe is that it was kind of one-dimensional for them, and that they didn't really show any other forms of playing. And so NRG know what to expect, right? These executes are going to come out relatively quickly, and they're going to try to catch us off guard. So try not to hang on to our nades too much, and if we have the opportunity to set up like really decent crossfires, all we have to do is sit and wait for someone to walk in, just be on full alert the whole time.
Some aggression being shown from NRG as this time they do push 2 players into short, so that was an avenue being used from CLG. They try to find the early fight, therefore the early advantage, but there's no presence from the offense. Instead, they play their players out towards the playground where the bomb is currently sitting. It's escort nearby. This does give time for the rest of the players to currently just clear out mid. They've taken the connector control, they've got the man on the inside of the connector doorway, and still as well hazed out towards Monster. So map presence very firmly in the hands of the offense right now. What they need to do, of course, is push that extra level past the A site where you're going to make contact with the man on long, Peter. He's got that op as well for the engagements, but he smokes himself off. So maybe he's going to fall back to the site now. They need to be cautious. They know the presence can be nearby.
Yeah, it's definitely a battle of pressure, and just the counter pressure is almost a farce. It's just they want to make it seem like you can't aggress any farther, you can't get closer to the site, but at the same time we don't want to give up this trade, so we're going to move back at an equally slow pace and try to delay for as long as possible. But here is tabseN actually working on a long flank, and I think he hears a lot of footsteps, so has an opportunity to maybe get a couple kills. Fugly is also going to help him make this a possibility.
Here it is. Fugly finds the first tabseN. He starts to fire, gives away his position, but he only finds 1 frag in that engagement. So Cutler cleaning up shop will bring this back to the 4 versus 3, and now they've got the ability to split onto the A site. But an excellent shot from tabseN, and Fugly will just knock down that offense. That's big from tabseN in the round. Yeah. Of course, he's that highlighted firepower for the side of NRG, and that's the sorts of rounds that just show his presence.
Yeah, I personally feel like tabseN is just the best player in the server. I feel like he's just been super consistent, and it's just like impressing me all the time. But yeah, really good timing on that push, and good awareness to not start running, and obviously great on Fugly to do most of the actual dirty work, killing 3 people.
Now, what was really nice in that round as well is Fugly clears the man coming out of the connector stairwell while there is that flank coming in on long. So they never actually expect the flank to come behind them because the player who was playing bathrooms is seen walking back to the site. They expect that resistance towards bathrooms, but then that flank it could have been so much more damaging. It wasn't. But Fugly's lined up here with the initial aggression, and Sabrosa wins the duel. So a 5 versus 4 found straight out the gates here in round number 7.
Yep, and then we have another walk-up explode, and it's successful. I mean, they get the 5v4. Peter's in a really tight spot, and Sabrosa is way too quick and way too proficient with that rifle. Great flash, however, is going to allow tabseN to get some damage in and push him back a little bit. Another supporting flash gets him a kill.
This is nice. They've slowed it down. The rotation coming inwards. Gob B still playing off the front, but Ethan with 3. What a dirty 3 frag for him. Excellent stuff. I mean, we just saw it from tabseN, and now Ethan's punching back.
Yeah, definitely money. I mean, and I just have to wonder, how many times in a row will that work? Like, how often is it going to catch the NRG off guard? It's very exciting to watch. I think there is a case to be made about not being able to get yourself telegraphed by throwing too many smokes in an execute, just playing this like walk-up explode style, and just playing that kind of incognito, inconspicuous style. But if it's known, out the gate, then you're going to have people waiting for it. But either way, CLG managed to grab 2 and earn themselves a save on NRG, so NRG don't have the opportunity to reset them here.
Of course, in the previous round, we saw some fantastic flashbangs coming in on that A site, and there is still 2 on Legia. Other than that, though, it's just going to be Kevlar for Gob B and a couple of pistols sprinkled throughout that CT side. CLG, after pushing in from Fountain, now take this connector control. Again, nobody found. So they have transitioned back to the setup we saw earlier with the man outside Monster, 1 in short, and then the heavier presence out towards Bathroom. This is a lot of respect being given to a team that's on a save round.
Yeah. Now, these couple of players in Bathrooms have actually gone unchecked, and the thing is that if you're pushing up the middle of the map here, this is allowing for the opportunity of a flank to come out. And it looks like it's pretty well timed, although, oh no, an opponent is spotted switching guns, and what Dink has had. There it is, another one to join in. Hayes goes down, but Kusa evening up with just a Glock.
Cutler there to help by. Of course, that denies the frag, so still only 1 death on the side of the terrorists. Sabrosa doing a good job of weakening the defense towards the B site. 2 frags, headshots through the wall. tabseN, however, finding headshots of his own off of the Deagle, and damage dealt to Ethan, who takes a second bullet, but then denies him the frag by spraying wildly off that rifle. A good round again from the side of CLG, although some losses.
Definitely some losses for sure. I'm curious to see what their money is looking like in this situation. We're obviously going to have a buy for CLG, but will we have one for NRG? It looks like, yeah, they get to put together the op and a couple of pharmacists. That's fine. I like that they actually sacrifice the ability to buy an M4 so that they can have the incendiary, the extra maybe HE grenade and smoke. Very important if you know how to use that utility to grab it. And there it is, a very, very, very strong smoke on a long B deep in the tunnel, and that forces and funnels everybody into short.
Legia, who was able to afford that incendiary, as you just mentioned, slows down this push. I mean, they do still have their presence inside the short, but they're not able to take it to the site as of yet, while Legia just rattles off some rounds. Now, of course, they've lost players through these wooden panels and also over the top of the cement wall, but this time it's them to take the frag as Tabson finds Sabrosa. Immediately, it's going to be CLG to transition into the strike, but they're losing players left and right. Hayes bringing it back by 1 as the bomb is dropped, and Legia takes down 2. That's a big play from him, leaving Kusta on his lonesome. Off in hand, he'll miss the shot. Tabson reels backwards into the site, and now Kusta's hands are tied. He has to push forward. Again, no bomb presence. This is just going to be a round easily for NRG.
Yeah, now they just want to keep as many people alive as possible, and ideally get Kusta in the process. They know he has an op, and there it is, the Molotov, the call out to flush him out of sandbags, and a very, very nice round. I mean, the boost was really well timed. Tabson probably called for it, was like, "Yo, put me up right now," or Legia was like, "Yo, you want to spot short?" Ended up being a great idea, supporting Molotov to channel them in there in the first place and hold them for a bit, and everything going well. NRG firing on all cylinders.
And that results in CLG being limited in this round. Cutler going to be playing off just the Tech 9. Not too much of a limitation, but still, if he is a man to go down early because of that, would be a shame. Now, Peter has the only op in this round. Fugly with the forward presence as Peter supports over the side of the bathroom walls.
Now, the bomb is actually over towards B. I'm not sure if he ended up throwing a smoke or not, but he's coming back across the map. And again, when you see that the team, if you look at the mini-map, has forfeited control of the other side of the map, you can tell that they have the intention of simply hitting the site that they're all posted up to. Because if you have to go back and clear your flanks, then that's a huge liability in time.
The problem here for the T side is, that, of course, that they don't have the bathroom control, so Peter's going to be given opportunity to find some frags as Tabson does the same. PD with 2, looking for number 3, but he turns his attention to catch Sabrosa. Big shot from Pete, as Hayes is now the last man standing, and it's a clean sweep from the CT side. 5 men standing at the end of that one. Peter's feeling good.
Yeah, now 5 long ends up working out a lot better than 5 bathrooms for sure, but we can see there with the superior positioning and the fact that they went untested in bathrooms meant that they were able, or NRG were able to have just these really off angles. Like Peter just standing in that spot is not somewhere you'd be if you don't have bathrooms control.
Exactly.
So the fact that he was able to stand there was just a testament to the fact that NRG have been winning map control, and so it's important, I think, if CLG are going to do kind of these faster plays, that they do spend some rounds just in a straight up default and going for safe map control, just keeping the CTs honest, pushing them back into spots, knowing that they can't be in certain places, give them a good amount of peace of mind.
This round, Fugly and Peter were once again pushed aggressively to the previous round's positions, but this time they fall to the site just in time to stop CLG. It's got B and Fugly to find 3. Cutler bringing it back by 1, and he does get his hands on the M4. Now, Peter's up close and personal, but because he has the off, he's relying on the sidearm, as was Cutler, who then goes down. Kusta joins the party, and it's 4 players standing at the end of this one. NRG with a clean sweep almost, but CLG find the bomb plant, so that's a saving grace.
Yeah, it's not even just a consolation prize. I mean, it just supplements their buy that much more. And obviously, even at the money you don't spend, you can put it in the 401k and take it out later.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of rounds to be played, so always a good time when you get a bomb plant. Especially in a situation when you're losing. But so far, NRG looking solid on CT side. In my opinion, play much more impressive CS on T side. Sometimes just fall flat on their face on CT side in situations where you're like, okay, well, you have all the advantages now. You can kind of just sit and wait. But for some reason, you're falling apart. And it seems like they're doing a lot better. They're looking really comfortable.
Peter aggressively pushing up towards party once more. That's his own smoke grenade plumed on the stairway. Kusta playing from the playground, pop flash and high. So he's trying to take some presence as Cutler does the same inside of short, finding the opening frag of the round, but 90 damage dealt in return does keep him a little softened up. Ethan's going to take the point man. More firing coming through, but now it's CLG just slowing down the pace of the round to see if NRG throw anything tricky their way.
Yeah, no, this bathroom smoke, I think, has alerted Peter. Just it's not safe to be out here by himself, but at the same time, they're down 4v5. And 90 damage has been done to Cutler, but as long as he is still in the round, there's no disadvantage, really, except for the way you play. And there he is. They finally pick up that kill. Another boost in the exact same spot. Just makes a lot of sense for TapsIn to go and get that kill. And Sabrosa, through the second wooden panel, finds a headshot with a spam. Really good stuff.
Looking for more as well. There are still 2 players nearby, so they have to be extra cautious. As they're boosted up, they catch him back. Sabrosa takes one to the noodle, and CLG now sit on 3, as do NRG. Peter again off the op, trying to find himself another frag, but he legs the man. That's Kusta, down to 16. He falls back into a safer angle. The fire going to protect him from that aggressive push, but the bomb has been planted for the bathroom after plant, and NRG now rotating up their other 2 players. CLG, they can hold on to this. They still have a Molotov to deny the potential defuse, and there's no smoke on the CTs to deny that.
Yeah, with no smoke, you got to think that CLG have such a good advantage in this round. I mean, they have no big flank either, so there's no way to force them out of these really overpowered positions. The Molotov's a delay as well.
It's early.
Now they're going to move in.
So it won't deny the defuse if they can find these frags. They push on forward. TapsIn takes 1, TapsIn takes 2. Leaving it just down to Hayes, who returns it with a 2K of his own, and Fugly's on the bomb. But NRG find the defuse.
Damn.
Damn. Balls of steel to stick it. He knows the man's coming. What? The defense won. That was a defuse. He got the defuse.
Oh no. Man,
wild.
That was such a great sequence for Hayes. I didn't realize. Jeez, just enough time. And you think, okay, he might get off of it if he hasn't been sticking it for so long. I mean, they did a great job getting those first 2 kills instantly. You got to think Ethan coming out for that instant train. It's like you have the ability to bait when it's a team pushing up on you into bathrooms. Maybe he thought, okay, since he got that first kill, I'm not going to see an opponent for a couple of moments, so maybe this is a good opportunity to peek. But it ends up not being that. Now Kusta opening up the kill, 5v4, or opening up the round with a kill, excuse me. And mind you, everyone died last round on NRG, even though they were able to get that defuse. So it's going to hurt quite a bit if they do lose this round. And going up 5v4 is no small feat.
Ooh, that's an aggressive peek from Legia, penalized accordingly. As Cutler takes him out, that's 5v3 now to the advantage of the offense, and it looks like they're going to execute in towards the B site. Gob B expending some utility, but he also finds a headshot of his own. Now he sprays towards short. Ethan in his sights goes down as well, and he escapes back to the water. Excellent play here as Fugly finds the 3rd. CLG 5v3, now back to 2v2. And the weapons reflected, mirrored on each side as there's an op for each team. Hayes finding Peter, though, drops the big green cannon on the side of the defense, leaving Fugly to clutch it with a flashbang on his side. He also expends that. Kusta's going to be able to find the bomb plant. Hayes suppressing fire, trying to keep him up here. There is still 1 smoke for the T's, and they'll use that on short to create some space now.
Fugly's actually seen, I think, Kusta jumping and therefore falling back, and now he's going to move up the side of the site. It's a pretty safe angle, but it's at this point where it's up to the T's not to peek anything and just take their time. But at a certain point, he's going to meet the crossfire, and Hayes has a great angle here to make sure this kill comes out, but he misses the shot, and I don't think Fugly is fully aware of exactly where he is. The position's given up now. Will the bomb be stuck? He's going for the headshot. Hayes actually gets it, and revenge for that last post-plant situation.
Revenge for that, and also for allowing him to push that player over towards the monster, right? You said there was that crossfire set, but his movement's so erratic that it's hard to follow him with your crosshair. You even saw the shots come through. He didn't know where they were coming from.
Yeah.
So
that was a great smoke from Gob B, though. Gotta say that. I mean, you know, that leave it to someone like Gob to do something like that, to come up with the smoke in a post-plant situation as a CT, right? To smoke your own site in a really creative way. It helped him section it off, get those couple of kills, and then almost helped his teammate get a kill as well, if only it didn't dissipate in the last couple of seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, a 5 versus 3 comes down to the 1v1. That's an excellent outcome for the side of NRG, all things considered. However, of course, it was CLG to pick up the round. So 9-4 score. Frag Grenade going to be dealing some damage.
Solid damage, yeah.
Excellent stuff. Great utility usage. He actually picked up a frag earlier on in the game to Sabrosa. And again, these headshots through the wall. There's been a lot of wall banging going on through these wooden panels. Excellent to see players playing that.
No, it's absolutely crazy how many kills have come out and how much damage has been dealt just through these wooden panels as pre-fires, as spams, as return fires. It's crazy.
Now, Legia in a bit of an interesting position. He's playing on the railing, the other side of the wood. So this is a position that he can easily fall down from in response to that. The push comes through short. They trade 1-1. Legia coming up big, however, will safely fall into the waterway, allowing Sabrosa, of course, to lose his target and therefore fall on back. Now, Kusta dropping towards short leads Sabrosa on his lonesome. He does still have the smoke and flash to play with, but the push coming his direction will be too much to handle. And NRG, they hit the double digits.
Love to know exactly what he's saying right now. He might be extremely happy or extremely mad. I can't tell, but they did end up winning that round very, very decisively. But every time we spectate Kusta, he's not got those magic hands right now. He's missing quite a few shots, and I gotta say, like, they're relatively easy shots as well. I mean, they're either small flicks or just straight up like flank shots that he's missed, and there's not much you can analyze about that, which is the tragedy of it. But it does matter because they're putting a weapon that costs $4,750, right? So it's quite a big investment.
Well, smoke's currently deployed from the defense, but it's going to be run through from CLG. They've only got pistols to work with here and a limited amount of utility on top of it. Peter going to miss that shot, but Fugly doesn't. A second round missed from Peter, a third to boot. Fugly finds two as Hayes finds the return frag. The no-scope connects, but only to the legs, so the damage dealt to the T side as they do find the bomb plant. We've got Legia applying from the side of the dumpster, transitioning towards bank, giving time for Gob B to rotate and flank in from long. Now, of course, the after plant positioning favoring the bathrooms, and Gob B doesn't clear it, right? He's coming in from long. At least this does put him closer to the site, and he could easily find the back of Ethan.
Yeah, like he's got 15 seconds on the smoke, so he's got to pick a good time to use it. Oh, if he gets that first kill, it could have been a whole different round. Gob B's almost certainly not going to try to get that. And again, last round, does he go pick it up? He actually is looking for it. And, I don't think it actually dropped. Oh, no, there it is. He's going to pick it and actually just stick the defuse. Will he be covered from this fire? He's actually going to get the defuse? Oh, my goodness. What awareness from Gob. Legia obviously telling him that he's got a smoke to pick up. You typically won't see a teammate go and try to find anything but a kit in a post-plant situation on CT side. Just very important that he did that. And
that's just smooth communication.
Yeah.
There's nothing else but it. I mean, and a heads-up play from him, let's be honest, maybe given away a little bit, as, you know.
Yeah, the smoke is going to guise you somewhat, but at the same time, it's the middle of the site, and you just kind of like whiff shots through a smoke. But it's nice that works, so we can credit him for having the awareness and just to make that heads-up play.
I mean, also at the same time, I'm not quite sure where the second positioning was, but I only heard one weapon being fired at the very end there. And if you have a man who's potentially sticking the bomb in the last round of the half, that's an opportunity to take a chance. Time is ticking. You know if he comes off, he's done. So maybe a missing opportunity there. But either way, it's, I mean, 11-4. That's a very lopsided affair. However, we're going to take a little bit break. 1 minute commercial, gentlemen, until we come back with some more action. The second half inbound. Don't go too far. This, of course, is the Northern Arena, brought to you by Bell, straight out of Montreal. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. On your screen, some statistics. NRG, CLG, 11-4. Quite the lopsided affair, Launders. And defuses aplenty.
Yeah, there were a lot of close rounds. I mean, I think a couple of these are definitely 1v1s. 1v2, a 1v3, not one 1v3, but one that came close. And there it is, a man of the hour. Tabson, 20 efficacy, 127 ADR. But notable ADRs for 2 to 3 people. Fugly and Peter both had a lot of great rounds. Peter, late in the half, not like last round, missed a few shots in that round.
Yeah,
but also in other rounds just had highlight moments. And I guess that is just Peter, right?
That's Petey.
Yeah, that is Petey.
Now, of course, this NRG eSports that we're looking at right now on the feed, this is much more indicative of what you'd normally expect, right? Earlier today versus Optic, we had Gobby top fragging and Tabson honestly quite absent. We do kind of, revere him as one of those higher players, and this is what we'd expect. Him at 18, Fugly up there with frags as well, Peter putting up some numbers, and Gobby and Legia on the lower side of the spectrum. Now, on the side of CLG, we've got a little bit more of less of a gap in between the frags. Hayes leading the charge with 10, and then the lowest would be Cutler on 6. So I mean, it's it's just unfortunately for them not there.
Yeah, and that definitely tells. I mean, it gives you a good understanding of why the scoreline is, I guess, as lopsided as it was. I mean, it seems like on the rounds on CLG1, they did a couple of cool stuff, but heavy reliance on entries, very light grenade usage. They did end up becoming a little bit more dynamic. They did do like a smoke execute on B to follow up their walk-in explode, but then they ended up losing that round, so that maybe can kind of discourage them further from trying to change it up every once in a while. But I think they should still stick to those guns. It's important to keep your opponents honest, whether or not it's a strategy you want to do because you like it.
Look at all this map control being given up for free in this pistol. NRG eSports already with presence inside of bathrooms, connector, and long. They've got themselves 2 smoke grenades, double flash, and the Molotov to play, so a tactical heavy utility play coming on in. It's Kusa up close and personal to take one to the dome. Peter going to be creating space as Cutler finds the return frag, but he too is overwhelmed, so it's a 4 versus 3 to the favor of the offense. Once again, the 1-to-1 trade, and the bomb goes down. Now that is planted on the side of the site, not necessarily directly behind the dice box.
Yeah, at this point, they kind of they seem a little bit uncomfortable just in case there is maybe a big flank coming out, but I think maybe both people have been spotted at this point. Nope, they're not quite sure yet. Tabson having some opportunities, but finally finding the headshot with the USP. Both kills come out. The 3v2 turns into a 3v0, and NRG are now up to 12-4. A strong lead.
And I mean, the problem with an 11-4 scoreline, right, is that's one of those scorelines, it's cliche to say, but the pistol round always means so much.
Yeah.
When you have this amount of, this little amount of wiggle room, you can't afford to lose that pistol. If they don't find one of these 2 conversion points, then we're looking at NRG on 14, so close to the cusp of victory, while CLG are so far away. I mean, unfortunately for them, that T side really didn't pan out. And now they come into this with them a force buy. Kusa's going to be playing aggressively, of course. He's got the Kevlar and the pistols. Cutler does have a scout of his own, no Kevlar to boot, but for the time being, nothing found. Firing shots is Cutler, but he will reel backwards. Smart decision.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you do want to spot for information. You try to get that opening kill for free if possible. And it's actually NRG on the offensive. I kind of tried to draw the narrative as the CTs with more money to spend, but even in this situation, I guess, with no support, Cutler wants to try to keep everybody at bay and not be in a position that can be him traded out. So there's actually an aggressive smoke from the T's to try to negate this effort by Cutler in going back to the site. Not something you see every day. Kind of smoking yourself off long to get up close to the smoke. This is forcing the CLG to try to spam and also make a decision whether or not they want to overstack A. The flashes come out. Kusa eats one. And now they're going to push in. Peter very hurt in this one. Like he has a Molotov.
Now we do still have Kusa behind the dice box. He's rattling shots with the Deagle, and he finds one. Greatly done. Cutler brings it back with another, and Hayes finds a frag. It's down to just Fugly here on the site, up close and personal. He is denied. We did say, of course, that CLG needed to upset, and here we go, Launders. 3 players up at the end of it. Grab those SMGs to boot. It's going to be those umps moving forward into this buy, as NRG unable to convert the point. That one's got to hurt.
You know, that Molotov did more than just kill Peter. I mean, he was taking damage as well, so it wasn't like a 100 damage kill or anything like that, but it must have been a missed Molotov because it just landed right where that smoke landed, blocking them off from entering the site, which meant that Peter died for nothing, and then they weren't able to get in, and that Molotov could have been doing something more useful. So not sure how that missed, but definitely a huge reason why they weren't able to win. You'd have to imagine.
Now, NRG, they're willing to give this one up. They're not going to be trying to force buy it back. Instead, willing, of course, with such a round differential, to potentially give up a few, get themselves into their gun rounds, play proper CS, don't try to overdo it. This is intelligent play from NRG. Respect being given, and I don't doubt that.
I like the verticality that NRG like to take into account when watching things. Even, well, I guess sometimes it's just a boost, but even there, it makes sense. If you're standing side by side, then you can create 1v1s as a CT. But if you got you peek into 2 opponents who are standing on each other's heads, or one standing on the other's head, there's no way for you to isolate them. And yeah, So you have pistols, you want to try to play that advantage, and they're done waiting for flanks. They're moving up into bathrooms. Stairs control has not been taken and not been forfeited by the CTs, so this could prove to be a thorn on their sides, especially now hearing that MAC-10 spray sound off.
Now, there's a very real opportunity right here, right now, for the T side to just overwhelm this A site. Hayes was the only man playing. His support came from Connector, and we just saw them reel into the B site to rotate upwards. It was in that time of the rotation that they could have easily, or at least attempted to, take the A site. Now, of course, the defense has been bolstered. They've got the men inside of it. If they push in forward, of course, they're going to be very much at the disadvantage. This frag grenade could be huge, Launders.
I think this is like the definition of what an over-rotation, but it's also probably a read because they're completely right about the fact that the T's have all full intention to go A. It's just really nice shooting there from Hayes to make sure nobody goes down, and all these kills end up going to the rifle. So not the most amount of money possible, but still good enough. And CLG starting to steal back the momentum. But they did just one tell. It was like one person peeking at a stair, seeing one person at A. They know that they had stairs in short. Maybe Kusta didn't hear anything at long B, and they're just like, this is definitely a situation where they go A. We know these guys, they go A, and on ecos quite often. They're probably all stacked up in bathrooms.
Of course, once more, we do have NRG still on their pistols. More utility this time, so maybe able to accomplish a bit more, but also CLG playing some more forward positionings, at least over here towards the A site. They're not inside the connector. They have given that one up, as well as short. Instead, they've got themselves sitting...
Where are they sitting?
They are sitting in Fountain.
Sitting in Fountain, yes. And did they buy anything? Yeah, we know they spent a little bit of money.
Yeah, a little, some pennies and dimes.
Yeah,
nickels
and quarters. Pocket change.
I would say pennies, but those are no longer a currency in Canada. So
yeah, rest in peace. No pennies. That's true.
Cutler.
Round.
There we go. One shot, one frag. Down goes the man from long. This is going to leave 3 players inside of bathroom with Kusta dangerously nearby. Godby spotted, but he finds the headshot. Great play off the CZ. Cutler now looking for a repeat, but he will be overwhelmed to the close left. At least he takes down Tabson and he reels back, so it's a big multi-frag from Cutler yet again here in the 19th round. Sabrosa finds the headshot this time, leaving Godby for a moment until he too is swept under the rug.
That was solid shooting from Cutler. Honestly, it seemed like he was the linchpin of the round. If he had died, have been pushed into long, or yeah, I missed that one shot on long, he could have potentially died. Nowhere to fall back in that situation. Then getting the second kill as well, hanging on to the app, and making sure that his teammates don't have a hard time retaking A or potentially letting the bomb go down. A lot of things were saved by him hanging onto that op in that situation, just staying alive.
But here we've got it, ladies and gents, NRG into the gun round of their T side with an op in the hands of Peter. We got 4 AKs across the board to boot, plenty of nades to play with, no real stark limitation to this buy down. But Kusta once more looking to get aggressive here. He has been playing some very forward positioning.
And I don't know, do they want to regress stairs? You know, it's fine to do it together. It looks like they are going to move down and see if they've got any lurkers to deal with. Very common spot to send a person solo, because typically you're going to have a one-to-one fight, and you can go late in the round and potentially flank people. But oh my gosh, Fugly just sitting out at short actually catches them opening to the door. I don't think they expected that at all. I don't even think I realized that he was there on the minimap, just fully prepared for that to happen. So that is going to be a wake-up call for CLG, who have now receded, have decided to turtle in the sites. They've got a fair bit of information, but it's also 4-4. And in a lot of cases, that favors the terrorist.
They were going for the exact same rotation we saw versus the Pistols. That one-round NRG were given long for free. However, this time, of course, they stopped. They do keep 2 players at the B site, splitting their defense evenly across the 2 sites. While meanwhile, NRG once more take long. This is a cheeky little walking boost to peer through the flowers, taking the scenic views as they move forward towards that A site. But no presence found until they see a jumping Kusta. So the presence is there. Kusta throws out the smoke, flash, excuse me. And now it's a response. Molotov going to be burning the feet of the T's, but they don't care. They push on through. It's Cutler to chime back from the back of Optimus Prime. 3v3 at the current moment. Still the T side now get onto the site. Sabrosa and Tabson trading a frag apiece. Tabson off the fire finds an additional one, leaving only Ethan, who reels on backwards. The bomb plant will be found, and he is disengaging, running away with his tail between his legs just to come back up from the dumpster side and try to find these frags. And the flashbang mitigated, sprays wildly through the fence and switches to the secondary. This is a problem now because he's committing to it, but he finds the headshot. That is big. Peter tagged as well on 28. A single round could do it. Ethan, so damn close. But Dirty Peak Pete saves the day.
Yes, too quick on that trigger. That was a very nice effort. It did come down to the wire there, but really terrifying Molotovs on the A site. I mean, they really laid down just a carpet bomb of Molotovs, basically engulfing every position there. And they were doing a good job of not just throwing them all at the same time, where they would all exhaust at the same time, and then people would be able to readjust. Instead, they molly truck late, which is kind of the final position I think that they expected to have to clear, putting everybody in an equally uncomfortable spot and at different moments.
And this time we still got NRG playing 3 players towards that A site, but they do have presence also in the bottom of connector and towards B. So players split in order to obviously push back any flanks, keep their eyes on the map control, but this time it will be CLG with some presence outside of bathroom.
This could definitely be the round that breaks the camel's back. Yeah, they've got they could be going on 14. They would almost certainly have CLG on a save. This would be their ideal situation, and I'm sure they realize it.
How do you feel about NRG really trying to hammer home this long play? Because we have seen them going for it time and time again, and they also have been giving up the simultaneous bathroom push at the same time.
Yeah, now one thing I know that they're good at is making sure they're not giving up exactly what they're doing. Maybe when they get spotted, I think it's sometimes maybe easy to tell depending on how strict they like to do things, but the long play here was really nice last round. I doubt CLG have a good answer for it, and I don't know if he was blind when he hit that shot, but Kusta gets killed, I want to say, versus an opponent with had his end over his face.
Now they're just going to barrel on through the smoke, and Cutler finds himself a shot connected. Hayes takes it even further with a double. Tabson going to find a response in from bathroom, so now this T side starting to find their momentum. It is still, of course, a man advantage for the defense, and Cutler's just going to extend that by an additional frag. Fugly, all the pressure on his shoulders. He just can't handle the heat. And CLG, they take another one.
Yeah, you know, they got that opening kill, and I think maybe they felt like they had given too much of a tell, but just to have to push through with smoke like that, I mean, they're really relying on people turning from flashes, and even if you're throwing the perfect flash, somebody could be turned around for another reason.
Exactly.
There could be 2 people standing in a similar spot, able to trade, and one of them just doesn't get blinded, and so it's just too much of a liability, I think, to try to do that just because you got 5v4. I mean, there was only 30 seconds left, and so maybe they didn't want to wait the full 15 extra seconds, but maybe just a relocation of bathroom. I'm not sure. It seemed risky, but obviously it would have looked like the golden play if they ended up just killing Hayes, who got 2 kills on players trying to run through.
This time NRG going to be taking a different avenue. As opposed to pushing in from Fountain, they do put 3 players inside of connector. They're already out. Sabrosa trying to deal damage through the walls, but he has to be cautious as the monster players come on through. Now, of course, the defense currently back towards Graffiti. This will give up the bomb plant, so Gob B successfully finding that extra bit of cash flow. More cushion for the next buy-in. Now, of course, 5 CTs still standing. This retake should be fine. They've got the utility to play, but NRG still with some forward positioning. Weapons and Kevlar could certainly throw a thorn into the side of this. Gob B going to peek wide. Nothing found. CLG, their bottleneck. Gob B, once more, now drops. Ethan finding the response. Sabrosa additions in with another. Fugly going to do the same. Of course, Fugly has support from Peter, but he's smoked off currently. He hears the bomb tap, 4 targets in front of him. This is just too much to handle, but he is dealing damage. They're just going to body block it at this point. He still finds one. That was a precarious situation, and yet still CLG, they dodge the bullet. Peter's riled.
They barely dodged that bullet. I mean, he took a little bit of damage there, but the worst part is they had 4 people alive, 2 of them with kits, and someone without a kit gets on the bomb. You're all in the same spot. Just let the guy with a kit make this defuse half the time, so that everybody else can focus on shooting. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to have to 10 seconds in a situation like that. But it is a 1v4, I suppose. So maybe they feel like they win no matter what. That being said, they would have lost if the bomb planter was the only person who had died.
That was a nice read coming in from the side of CLG as well. You can see how they fell their players back towards Graffiti, so they lost nobody in that initial push, right? We saw those terrorists just flooding into the site. really getting up close and personal, but when you do still have those rifles, you need to play from the back line. So excellently done on the defense to at least dodge that initial damage, but Fugly this time finds himself the opener. Kusta chiming back over towards Bathroom, takes down 2 before Peter trades the frag. It is the 3 versus 3, but it's very disjointed at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They're spread out. I mean, I don't think they were anticipating getting these 2 kills as early as they did. Good pop flash, however, makes it possible and allows Fugly to not only get the kill, but to come away with so much HP. And he's also got armor in this situation. Peter, oh man, a shot has missed on him, and he's going to be able to plant. Another shot has missed as well, and Cutler loses all his health, is also stuck kind of on the left side of CT. Very low HP.
Now, let's be real though. We got 2 ops to retake on the side of CLG. They take 1 man out of the equation, but Fugly's got armor and the M4. 1 frag found. Cutler standing 5 HP, closes the distance to the site, but he takes 1 to the chest. And NRG will find themselves victorious in that round.
What a round from Fugs. And there was a really great flash to help him get into that site. Kusta was full blind. I mean, for a moment, he ended up getting the opportunity to take that fight, but I think he was a little bit flustered. And obviously, just good headshots and yeah, picking up that N4 and putting it to work. But that is a really tough round to lose. NRG now up to 14, and CLG on very little money have decided to buy. We've got literally a P250 smoking a flash on Hazed.
It's tough, tough stuff. Ethan, he's got himself the deagle as well in the flashbang, but Hayes going to be playing from the back of the toxic barrels. He's burning alive, down to 60 HP before he extinguishes the flames, tries to flash his way out, but the frag grenade too strong. Sabrosa going to be taking 1, does keep control of Short, and Ethan with a dirty deeg. Looking to deal some more damage as all 3 terrorists are bottlenecked on the side of Monster. Fugly creating space and equilibrium found. It's a 3 versus 3, but the bomb now inside of the smoke will be planted. Gob B once more, going to find at least that. Great positioning from Cutler on the top of the sandbags. Kusta chimes in with the op as well. So Tabson, you're going to have to come up big here, bud. 1 versus 3. Kusta sidelines him. Done deal. CLG find double digits as well. Now, of course, NRG, this will reset their economy after finally scraping together some sort of a win. But the problem is, of course, they're so damn close, it can be messy. They just need to crawl across this finish line.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you have to put it together. And going fast and to be in that situation, it's a total call out to the fact that the CTs just don't have money to counter-nade heavily. And so you know there's not going to be any pre-mollies, like almost certainly, like if you're going to exhaust those, and it's really all the utility you have. And so it's basically just a read and probably a smart play. They did end up getting that 5v4 to kick it off, but couldn't follow up with a bomb plant fast enough, and also couldn't get settled in the site. So from there, CLG were able to take it. Obviously, a very nice 1 deeg from Ethan was probably a game changer in that situation. That boost as well from Cutler on sandbags.
Now this gets interesting. Hazed up close with the XM1014. Legia, he's got a pistol, but firepower-wise, the shotgun should prevail. Damage dealt, headshot found, make it number 2. 5v3 for ease here, as he also had the support from Short. He knew there was nobody else coming in from that doorway. Currently, we do have NRG split, but interestingly enough, it's Goppy up towards the A site. Trade frag found, Peter prevails, but now he is on his lonesome. AK in hand, no armor to try and protect his life, but a headshot will help, as now it's only 3 players up for CLG. So damage dealt, nicely done. Of course, his hands are tied. This is going to be a really tough spot for Peter. He's got nearly a minute still on the clock to play with, so these counter-terrorists could try to push him out afterwards, try to clear this from his hands. In the meantime, he can also just sit, wait, and see what happens. Yeah,
so he's been spotted at B with the bomb, so they know that. So he's got to nullify this information by just waiting. This will force the CTs to spread out because it's 3v1. They don't want to let him get a plant in this situation. They can't risk it, and Peter just making sure that he can't get spotted is moving over to the other side of the site. Now it's actually, you've taken a gamble here, just move. Oh, I think he actually just misfired there. I'm not sure if he actually saw anybody, but not expecting Ethan to be holding that crossfire. And it was good on Ethan not to just move in that situation to try to trace his kill. Instead, didn't allow him to get good position on site and get a lucky plant. So dealt with it well, and decent effort by Peter to get those 2 kills. That's a lot of economic damage in a situation where CLG are trying to crawl back into this game, as you mentioned.
Yep. I mean, the problem is, right, with losing these players, of course, that will start to bottom out some of the cash flow for CLG. Mind you, they too are on 11, so as long as they can just keep ahead of the curb, keep winning rounds, and just scraping through, they too can just find that win off the back of a couple misplays or just, those slim differences that can very well decide the outcome. So this round, once more, we do have the offense heading towards the A site early. Hayes to find a response as he takes down 1. Now the fire pushes him away from the tree. Great utility usage manage to find that equalizing frag. Cutler left on his lonesome will disengage from the situation. He doesn't have the confidence to stop this entire push. So a smart, conservative play will keep this at 4v4. And we do have NRG eSports now with a whole ton of map control.
Yeah, they definitely made a lot of presence towards A, and I think CLG, it's kind of hard to see whether or not it seems they just have two people. They're two-manning each site at the moment, so equally spread thin. Bomb actually moving back to the other side of the map, but they've left Legia here with a fair bit of utility. He can actually cause a distraction and have a lot of impact. I'd like to see him actually commit as well to really sell this hard. And it seems like with two people pushing up bathrooms for info, he's kind of got the opportunity to get really aggressive at long and not allow them to know exactly. Oh, I see. He's thrown the smoke just to maybe guys the walk up. I mean, they've done it before, so it makes sense. It could be a tell that's misread, and he's still out here looking for a frag.
See these defenders shifting position towards the B site, but Kusta finds the shot through the edge of the boxes. Cutler with an op of his own, taking down another. So these cannons prevail, but Fugly will still find himself the bomb plant. So that cash flow continues for the T side. And Peter now trying to find the response with his op, but another missed shot, it's not going to work it out. Fugly finds the headshot at the very least. Cutler tagged down to 12, and the CT's pushing forward. Fugly dropped out of the equation, but he doesn't realize Kusta's up close and personal here. The support coming in from heaven, but the shot connects. That's big from Pete. Cutler 12 HP, the op still in hand. Peter's going to be trying with the primary, and it's the no-scope from Peter. What a way to close the round. That is huge.
Thanks. All this 1v2 brought to you by a flash from CLG. Did you see that flash?
That's
in the 1v2? Yeah, that is definitely a heart. I mean, for match point in that situation, it was extremely well played though. That was a 2v4. Fugly got the kills that he absolutely had to get to make that possible for Peter to have a chance in that round. So really good shooting from him. He's been having a pretty outstanding game, I gotta say.
I mean, I think we can say that's just Fugly coming up big when he needs to, followed by Peter doing the same.
Definitely.
The flashbang definitely helps, as mentioned, but still, great play from him off of the op. And that last guy is so incredibly lit, but because he has the CZ and the man is so close, he didn't want to swap to the secondary. That's a lot of pressure to land that op shot, and he does it. So a person that sometimes, you know, gets a little flack, a little criticism, but he comes up big when it means it most. That does give number 15 to NRG one more to cross this finish line. And the counter-terrorists not in the best position. Already their utility expended.
Damn, I thought Nathan, or Ethan, excuse me, had the info there, but maybe didn't expect a repeat to come out that early. But that early opening kill, as well as the fact and the thought that NRG might be following up with a B execute, might be a really good situation for them to be in, considering it's CLG to have forfeited long here. Now Cutler has pushed up, and I think he might assume either that player may have been an early aggressor as opposed to a late one. Either way, they still got kind of a concave on these two CTs, and 3 people pushing up is going to be a scary thing for them to deal with.
Now, because NRG have hit the A site without any bathrooms present, I think that's why we do see the CLG players from bathrooms paying attention to it. They've got 3 guns trained on it, make it 2 because 1 is out of the equation as Kusta finds another big op play to secure the bathroom control. Will now turn this push into a singular approach. Peter spots the barrel of the weapon, so he knows the man's up close, but Kusta chimes in with yet another frag, 3 in the round to leave Peter once more, but does he do it back to back? He's already found himself 1. We've got 2 players left standing here on the menu, swapping out to the M4, looking for Sabrosa. Up close, down he goes, and it's a duel of the oppers as Kusta repositions himself and the bomb's been picked up. Peter loses the round, of course, because there is no time.
Oh yeah, absolutely no chance to actually do it in those last few moments. And I thought I got weird. I think it was the fact that Kusta knew about the time, and so it was like, Sabrosa, you could die here, but there's no way he's going to win it, so I'm not going to try to peek for the trade. And I was kind of wondering, like, why wouldn't he actually just try to instant get that revenge frag, but it ends up being the better decision. So where are we at now? NRG, again, in this half-buy situation, I think unable to get this last point that they need to close out the map, and off of the last loss on that buy, they've got an op in the hands of Peter, and I think want to supplement it with some armored teammates. Probably a good investment.
I'm worried about how much money they have left over, however, because there's not many rounds left. Now, that's a big miss from Kusta. He swaps out to the sidearm, but he still nails the headshot. That's a big one here, as both those players only had pistols. Peter's still with the only primary on NRG. And they do have map control out towards this B site. Sabrosa playing the ramp, just going to be spotting both sides. Ethan's nearby to support. So, of course, we did have Garrett on the desk talking about how these two men play this bomb site, the new guns themselves, and it does seem as though they've got some nice team play within their positioning. So I like to see this, both falling back simultaneously, won't give away a frag for free, but we do have NRG just pondering over the top of the walls. Cheeky stuff coming in from the offense as Peter looks for the opening.
Tabson actually gets, I think, a little bit of damage from the spam. Peter, the only man with the smoke, is going to toss it into the site to try to help them plant, but they aren't able to cross path off of this, excuse me. Tabson jumping in and just dying. Fugly as well joins him in death, and there is Peter to get a frag, and they might have forgotten about the off there. Hop shot is missed. Another one as well, and that's it. CLG seal it up. Now we're within 2 of actually bringing this to OT, and it's seeming like a more and more real possibility as the rounds follow.
Take a deep breath, Peter. You are a rock star, don't forget.
Yeah. No, it's like sometimes he's really, I think what he's really good at is, like, you know, in those clutch situations with an op, which is kind of a situation you don't want to be in with an op, but when his back is really against the wall, he hits some insane shots on close-up opponents, and you think, oh, the models are bigger, like it'd be easier to hit. Well, I mean, they move fast across your screen, so it can be super difficult in pressure situations to try to hit those frags. But sometimes those ones that are a little bit easier, you got to wonder, why aren't these shots connecting?
Of course, we do still have NRG onto the save round. A single P250 for Peter with the bomb on his belt. Of course, this is just so that they can have the strongest buy possible in round number 30. We said this match was going to be close, the series as well, and we have gone the distance here on map 1. Or at least we might. Of course, it would take some sort of a miracle for NRG to win on a round like this. The advantage from the side of CLG is massive. Kusta rattling off shots won't find the connection as of yet. Neither will he off of the repeat, so the Molotovs instead just going to buy some time. And we do see now the defense rotating upwards.
Yeah, just not a whole lot to work with. The bomb, it seems like, is actually making his way back to B, I want to say, and with stairs control completely forfeited. They've got, you know, a 4-second rotation as opposed to a like 10 to 15-second rotation. Bomb will be late, however, has taken the long route back. Didn't want to go downstairs alone, find that out for himself. But no, not so much information gathered by CLG. Almost certainly this is going to go into the final round. But still 5 players lab. Now Kusa changes that up, and Sabrosa joins in. There it is, a Glock kill comes out, but there's only 1 man left. That's Peter. No way he's going to get this plant, so decides to go for a frag. Understandable decision.
Yeah.
There it is, completion of round 29.
Which means that we arrive in round number 30. All the way we have gone, and it all comes down to this. Now, by all means, I would not be surprised to see overtime. I can honestly say that. It's been
not in this matchup.
It's been an incredibly close game, and even the T rounds that we have seen NRG win, they haven't always been that convincing. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both these teams have major flaws, and I think neither one of them are like significantly better than the other, and obviously have very close records against each other. And I think it's just something that changes day by day. But you know, NRG having the strong start, the strong lead. Actually have both pistols, didn't they? I mean, 11-4 half, I think, was supplemented by both pistols. So that's a testament to CLG. I think the breadth of the rounds they played, CLG have probably had more rifle rounds to win. So, and I mean, that's something to say about the fact that they are in round 30 now.
Slow play. You can see, of course, neither team wanting to give up that early advantage. T-side's still just crawling their way through Fountain. Meanwhile, the guys towards B are still sitting all the way back towards the T-spawn. So really, no map control being forcefully taken here from the terrorists as of yet, but they are going to be looking to use that 2-pronged assault from the side of Party and Connector to start garnishing their control. Now, Hayes finds 1, but it's only going to be stopped at that. Traded immediately by Tabson. That's a big frag, of course, to keep this in equilibrium. He transitions down towards short, and now we see that bomb starting to crawl its way forward.
And Gov hasn't had the best game so far, so you know, I want to say him going out is actually not too much of a hindrance. In this situation, Fugly going to be leading a man who has had a stellar performance, I think up to 26 frags right now.
Both of these ops are near the site, however, and Ethan's still playing the same position. Now that flashbang puts him down. Cutler finds 1 on the cross. Ethan finds the headshot to boot. 4v2 here as Peter finds himself on the site, but in the fire and the flames, he will go down, leaving it to Legia 1v4. This is an incredibly big moment for him. He finds himself another frag, looking to deal additional damage. I mean, realistically here, he should never be allowed to win this, but he is given more space until Kusta rips it from his cold, dead, clammy hands, and launders we head to overtime.
Yeah, OT. I mean, I definitely thought that each of these maps was going to go the distance. And you know, NRG are no strangers to OT. I see them in OT all the time, and I think they have the stamina to do it.
I was going to say, yeah, is that a good thing then?
Yeah, definitely. They are used to having to play. Sometimes some teams go to OT. They'll try to force up a little bit early because they just don't believe in themselves when it goes that far. But at the same time, CLG have earned their spot in OT as opposed to NRG, who all they had to do was put together a round. Right? It was more onus on them to just try to close out the map. Right? They had everything going for them. A strong lead, a lot of time, less pressure, and they still couldn't do it. So.
Now, I'd like to pick your brain on that a little bit further when we do come back, because we will take a short break with a word from our sponsors before we return for the overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Northern Arena brought to you by Bell, and we'll see you in just a short moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. MR3 10K, Launders. How are you feeling about this after watching the T side of both of these teams?
I think the only point that I think stands is that because CLG had a lot more rounds to win in general that were difficult, I kind of favor them in a sense, and I always favor the team that finishes off the half stronger, even if they won less rounds in said half. Now, it was OT, so obviously they did a good job of splitting, but yeah, NRG were up 11-4. So now I wonder the biggest issue, the biggest hurdle of OT is reinventing yourself, trying to figure out a new way to do something. You really put all your eggs in the regulation basket, if you will. Oh, Nathan! I keep calling him Nathan. Ethan pushing up to A and not clearing the angle, and Tabs coming up with a couple of quick headshots. Very nice, but also equally good trade. Kusta,
yeah, just, I mean, aggression from CLG all over the place. They had 3 players up close, tried to take that fight early on. Now, of course, it's traded back 2 frags apiece, but Kusta falling back with only 13 points of health. That's not going to put him in a big position. So Subroza, go big or go home. Although he's already in Montreal, so he has to go big. There's no other option. 3 players to present themselves as Gob B Molotov's off short. They're waiting for that peak, and it's Subroza waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Out he comes wide, finds the frag, and he's allowed to fall back as well. Fugly, however, returns the favor with a kill of his own to the 2v2. He puts in the bomb himself. Cutler on high with that op as the player comes in from short to split.
That nade could have been magical, but unfortunately wasn't close enough, or didn't get over the lip of that box. And now Kusta's in a really great position, and Peter, so obviously almost certainly not going to be aware of this. Naturally, just does check, gets the info, and realizes that Kusta's got a long tunnel to run down to. He doesn't actually have to peek right away. Notices that it's been smoked off, and this is actually going to make him push to the other side of the smoke. Fugly going to get the other kill. Kusta pushing up short now, and Peter's got to hit this shot. Bang! There it is.
That was a team flash that blinded the player putting it up short.
Oh, was that another CLG flash to win the round
another CLG flash
for NRG?
It flew over the man on the site's head, popped behind him, allowed for the wide peek off of the side of the boxes, and the frag found. So that's a bit of a missed opportunity for CLG, allowing NRG to find the first of their overtime. Now, of course, take into consideration that both of these teams only won 4 rounds in regulation. For them to already have 1 of their 3, that's a fantastic start.
Yeah, that definitely is. And on CT side, it's much harder to put together a bond in the 3rd round if you do lose 2 in a row. So, you know, hopefully for CLG's sake, they are able to at least close this one out, if anything.
Especially when you're buying ops.
especially when you're buying ops. Again, we're able to, and you know, you wonder because, I mean, I guess that round was another clutch round, so very close. Came down to some level of individual skill and obviously like a missed flash, but CLG had done such a great job in on the CT side leading up to this moment. Maybe that pause before OT helped NRG recollect themselves.
Still, we've got 5 players for the offense starting to congregate in towards the B site. Ethan, you got to come up big, bud. Sitting next to the ramp, he's going to be smoked off, puts himself into the water as well. The flames pushing his side, so the bomb goes down for free. That's an excellent execution from NRG. Now there's 4 players still to retake this site, and it's going to get hectic here as Gobby finds another frag. Sabrosa immediately chiming in. Gobby finds the second as well. Now the 2v3, now the 1v2. The trade frags on point. Gobby with 3. But he goes down in the process. tabseN and Peter both playing from short, and as Ethan peeks wide, it's to his demise. Peter once more closing the round for NRG, and that's 2 for 2 now.
Yep, and this is how you win. You win the first 2 rounds of OT. It's a quick 3-0 half, and all you have to do is win 1 of 3 rounds in the second. In the second, I wouldn't put it past CLG, however, to not have a chance in this round. They definitely will try to make it. I don't actually know. Did they end up spending money on an op in those 2 previous rounds?
The counter terrorists?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, significantly affecting their ability to get any guns then. Full nades and pistols on the ducket for CLG. Backs against the wall right now. If they go down 3-0, they are 1 away from losing this map in what could be a very close series overall.
Ooh, that grenade could have done much more damage. Cutler just going to get by with a smidgen of 13 gone. Finds himself into the corner with a crossfire set, but Kusta's smoke has now dissipated, so he's left standing in the open, feeling naked as the terrorists start to push on forward. tabseN just jump peeking the angle, catches him with a headshot again. He's in the middle of that gap. It's an easy opening for tabseN, of course, the range with that rifle, so a 5 versus 4 moving forward. As long as they keep themselves together as a unit, clear their corners properly, and push towards the site, there shouldn't be a way for NRG to lose this.
There shouldn't. There shouldn't. Yes.
Emphasis.
Yes. Definitely a key word there. And Fugly is not going to go for bathroom control. The CZ bests him though, and he also forfeits that AK. So big pickup for Cutler. If I were him, I'd definitely give it to somebody who has a little bit more health to deal with. And the 4 pushing up along here. Molotov's out, looking very ferocious, making a lot of noise and clearing out every spot. Perfect coverage.
Of course, a weird situation here with Peter still inside bathroom. Sabrosa's going to be making a lot of noise as he passes by him, but Peter never hears it. So Sabrosa finds the back turn for free, grabs himself the AWP, and starts to move on forward. They've got this assault coming in, of course, from the back of the dumpster, but with Sabrosa, tabseN, there it is, done. Done. Mere matter of seconds. All 3 rounds for NRG on their overtime. They literally could not have asked for anything better than that.
Yeah, that's definitely the queen's sweep right there. And all of a sudden, we have CLG, who just had a stellar CT side fall flat on their face in OT, and NRG looking like veterans of this situation, easily putting it together. Now, let's see. All they've got to do is win a round on the side they were better on in the first half. Like tabseN already up to 31 out his post-regulation, but just barely. Still really outstanding play from him.
It's for that reason, of course. They picked up 11 rounds the last time they were on the CT side. You'd think they'd be able to finish it, but, well, CLG was just in that very same position. And they didn't even have to switch back, right? They finished their CT side directly into it for overtime. Now we've got NRG going to be trying to deal with the same issue. They did go for some early aggression out towards bathrooms, but now the counter-terrorists already falling backwards. We do still have Fugly playing forward, but just lots of shots being rattled off here, back and forth, trying to deal initial damage, and if they're lucky, find a frag.
Yeah, if they're lucky, there it is. Wow, tabseN has been so good at that. I mean, Sabrosa is probably the 2nd best player on the server at that, from what we've seen in this map. But couldn't be a more critical moment to make sure you hit that spam, and he does do it.
We still have 3 defenders here. Legia going to be playing that position again. We saw him find success and stop that short push the first time. He'll be looking to do the very same. tabseN still taking a bit of a gander over the top of the wall, but those shots ringing dangerously close. Well, they teach him. He falls back. Although Ethan dropped to 30, so that's big. Starting to soften up the offense before they even get the chance to execute forward.
Yeah, that really leaves them susceptible to counter nades. However, the only ones that can do damage are Fugly's, and I'm not sure where he might be. He's probably actually over at A, so that might be saving grace for them. Great flash, and there's always definitely great flashes paired with the peaks from everybody on NRG doing that reliably. Oh, and wow, what a spam from Legia to pick the right side of that tunnel.
Got 25 seconds on the clock. They've got to make their move, and they've got no players left to do it. Kusta, do you have it in you for the 1v4? The answer is no. It is NRG picking up the first map after going the distance. Very stellar stuff.